Morning, everybody. Hello. How is everyone doing? Wow, that looks messy behind me. I need to clean that up. I've not spent a lot of time in my office the last few days. I hope everyone is well. I'm just going to maybe lift my screen a bit. Lots of chatter this morning already. Folks were talking about rockets in their youth. I'm assuming you were talking about toy rockets and not nuclear rockets. Yeah. Have I been sleeping with the N8? No, but I've spent a lot of time in there. Surprise, surprise. Thanks, Davey Baker. Let's try small nuclear later. Yeah, okay, yeah. I wasn't sure. I didn't get all the conversation. Is it raining in Scotland? It's been raining here in Melbourne, which is pretty surprising because it's summer. But that's Melbourne for you. Platinum Spider is formerly known as Charles. Platinum Spider, that's very cool. I look so settled. I'm in a happier headspace than I've been for a while, sure. Still pretty tired and run down. I mean, I've obviously got a huge amount of TinyPICOs to build. The good news is you can't see it. I have a box of 1,000 TinyPICOs that is going out to Crowd Supply today, or to Mauser today. So I've got the first 1,000 done. I still have 2,500 to build. So that's daunting, but at least it's smooth sailing on the pick and place, which is great. Hey Stephen, just ordered your first TinyPICO? Ooh, awesome. How is my back? My back is actually, it's improving. I didn't give it a chance much to heal over the pick and place installation time. It was quite physical getting the pick and place set up because I was doing it by myself, and it was like many hours of standing in front of it and leaning into it and setting things up. So yeah, I didn't take care of my back as well as I should have, but it's good now. We're good. It's all good. Have I got all the parts for the rest of the boards? Yeah, I've got everything here. I've got another reel of D4s coming. Should be here, Wednesday? Maybe Friday or maybe Monday, but I've got some here still to keep making. Yeah. Wow, lots of new names today. Where's the best place to buy your stuff from? Oh, in Oz. To buy my stuff, I ship everything from Australia, so my Tindy store or my Unexpected Maker website, they will all ship from Australia. Yeah, and if you're overseas, and some old names. Hello, Julian. If you're overseas, Adafruit. Adafruit just sold out of TinyPICOs, but they've got Feather S2s. Pimaroni have got Feather S2s and TinyPICOs. And then there are a bunch of people in Europe and other places that have TinyPICOs. And then, of course, Mauser have got, although they've only got like 50 left now, I think. So they desperately need this box. Ooh, Nick got the last TinyPICO from Adafruit. Awesome. Well done. So speaking of that, okay, let me quickly do a roll call, and then I want to speak about that. Actually, before I do a roll call, because lots more people are coming in, so there was just a discussion in chat a couple of minutes ago. Mr. Who 30 asked the question about, so obviously some of my patrons have seen some more advanced videos since my video that I posted publicly. And like I was showing precision. So to let everyone know, been running TinyPICOs through the N8. I only did that one panel of the Feather S2s and then I moved on to the TinyPICOs, and I've got that tuned really well. And I've got the machine running at 80% speed. I can get it faster, but I want reliability. It's running at 80%, and it's just tuning through TinyPICO boards, which is fantastic, right? But I'm trying to get the precision and placement of it perfect, right? And so the question came up, does it have to be perfect? And it's, okay, so the way it works, this is all from my experience, right? And from my totally uneducated, I've got no formal training in EE, right? Or no formal training in manufacturing. It's just my own experience. If you have bad pasting, it doesn't matter how good your placement is, you're going to have bad results, right? If you have great pasting and you have average placement, that will sometimes work okay for you. You can definitely get a recovered board from it. You might have to do some rework, right? But for me, with small parts like 0402 components, or components that are around that size but aren't passives, like my LDOs, which are 2x2 millimeters and stuff like that, or my little FETs that are SOT 723s, because they're so small and because they're so light, the issue is how light they are. That when you've got a resistor that's sitting between two pads and it's not exactly dead center, because the part is so light, that depending on which pad can potentially start doing the reflowing first, because it sometimes it won't be both pads exactly at the same time, right? Depending on where the board is sitting in the oven and where it is at the time it's going through the oven and whatever, that it is possible for one of the pads to pull the component through surface tension too much before the other pad grabs it. And then you can easily shift a light part. The heavier the part, the denser the part, the less chance that's going to happen. So for me, I try to do my best to get the position as perfect in the center as possible to allow for the best results coming out. Now, it was mentioned, so Jay was talking about it, Mr. Who30 was talking about it, Chris, Georgie was talking about it. So it comes down to, a really good paste application, having the right holes in the stencil, the right shaped holes in the stencil, not too much paste. You end up just with, parts can get lifted off the board if there's too much blobby stuff. That's why sometimes you'll see pads, especially for larger passives, that look like a C instead of a square, where they cut a little bit out, because it gives it a chance to not have as much paste there, but still get the same type of surface tension to hold it down. So there's a lot of refinement that can happen on the stencil. There's a lot of refinement that can happen on the paste application. But for every part that doesn't shift is a part I don't have to worry about reworking, right? So for me, I try to get my stencils as good as possible, my pasting as good as possible, and my placement as good as possible to eliminate as many reasons that I have to do any type of rework on boards. And there always is. The more boards that you build on a panel, the more chance that there's going to be, the more parts on a board, the more chance there's going to be a part that needs, to be nudged with a hot air. There are so many other factors involved, like it's going through a conveyor, right? It looks super smooth, and it is, but at the end of the day, there could be a little bit of vibration that's happening in there. Is it a warmer day or a cooler day? Trying to keep the garage now, this is a struggle I'm already got, is trying to keep the garage in a constant ambient, around 24 degrees, which is proving a real problem, because, we had a couple of really hot days last week, when I say hot, relatively hot, but really warmed up in the garage. The garage was probably 32 degrees, 33 degrees, because the oven was on and it was 29 outside. And then, the next day it was bucketing down rain and it was freezing. Trying to keep the garage in a constant temperature is proving quite difficult, even with the insulation and everything I put in there. So there are so many factors involved with what could make a part shift, you know, on pads or not. So I'm just trying to get as much precision as I can to eliminate as many things as possible, right? USB is so long. What? What are these hot days you speak of? Yeah, well, it was raining all day yesterday. Like, we had almost torrential downpour yesterday. There was a couple of minutes where I thought we were going to get flooding. I don't know what's going on with the weather. Oh, Chris Miller's got an open BMP machine, and he ran some 0402s. Get one of the Samsung's other mini splits. Well, I've got a split system inverter in there. It's about as good as I can get in the garage, considering that there's no proper ceiling, roof cavity to put a machine on top, and that's just really expensive. And look, as much as I want to stay here and manufacture here and not move out into a factory, I really don't. Like, I really don't. I'm happy to discuss that later, all the reasons why I don't want to do that. At some point in time, like, I'm already out of room now in the garage. Like, my line is taking up the entire length of my garage, and I can't extend it now. And yeah, it's cramped. It's really cramped in there. It's as cramped as I expected it to be, but it's, yeah. Okay, let's do a roll call before there are too many people and I've already missed all the top of the chat now. It's already gone. Okay, so Mr. Chris White, hello. Chris. Georgie, hello. Christos is here. Wow, that's 3 Chris's in a row. That's crazy. Mr. Who 30, Jay, hi. Scrolling. Rat Madness, good morning. Dave Odessa, hello. Did I say Mr. Who 30? Hello. Wow, I've already lost where I'm up to. Adam Bryant, hi. Paul, hello. Roger's here. Ian Scott Johnson, hello. Embedded Hobbyist, hi. Henrik. Graham. Kevin, hello. Andy Mouse 123. Monster Mark. Kuka 737. Dave Hines. I need to get closer. Kepo Steve. Nick Tucker. Ezzy. Diactriac. God. These names make me feel like I'm dyslexic. Taftsy's here. Simon's here. Davey Baker. Cavon, hello. Yo. Benjamin. Joe. Bruce. Harry. Micro Pizzy, hello. Stephen Day. I'm going to miss people, I'm really sorry. Ergfubs from Sweden, hello. I'm glad you like my videos. I need to make more of them. Okay. Said hi, Davey. Peter, hello. Embedded Stuff. Johnny's here. David Boyd. Tim. Bredan. Akurash, hello. Aaron Knox. Stephen Day. Did I say hi, Stephen, already? I don't remember. Oh well, you get 2 maybe. Hello, Sven. Hi, Kai. And Julian we said hi to. Rob Robbins. Fred Flintstone, hello. Peter, hello from Sweden. Glad you have the pick and place up and running. I've connected to Discord. Yay. Oh, bye. Had to leave again. Hey, Torsten. Hey, Michael. Hey, Vincent. No, not Vince, is it? Wait, that just jumped. Where's it gone? Go back. Where did that go? Okay, I've lost it all. X-Micron, Quixotic Geek, hello. Waves. Okay, if I miss some people, Peter S, hi. Yeah, it just jumped. I just lost everything. Jack Film Tube, hello. Platinum Spider, gotta say hello again. Yep. Dustin Watts, hi. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry if I miss anyone. Yeah, see you. Hello. Wow. You'd think I'd be getting really good at this by now, wouldn't you? But I'm not. I'm really bad at it. Okay, some quick things before I forget. So, hey Shivraj. Hang on, what did I miss? Jack Film Tube's hoping to get a Neoden 4.8 next year. No room though. Yeah, room's a problem. Like, I knew how big this machine was going to be. I knew the measurements, but it's different when you put it, like, you go, yeah, it's just going to go over there in that space. But then when you actually see it, the mass of it, it's huge. Generate all the roll call text to speech. That's actually not a bad idea. Or a scraping thing. I should just build some way of scraping it. Dustin did. Hey, Dustin, you did your API thingy that was, pinging messages and stuff, right? Like, or with... Yeah. There must be a way of scraping it. Oh well, I'll work it all out. Hello, Peter. Where are the promised cams? So, today, I was hoping it would come yesterday. I have a package coming today from Core Electronics. I bought everything I need to set up I've got a new Pi coming, a 4GB Raspberry Pi 4. I've got, and everything I need to set up a Raspberry Pi in the garage I've got a powered USB extension lead, and I've got a Logitech webcam that's on an articulated arm that's going in the garage. And so my plan is to be able to stream and or whatever from in the garage, and to a point where I can at least move the arm around and move the head of the webcam around. It's not going to be great. It's going to be the Logitech. It's 1080p, but it's average video, but I'll be able to do that from inside. So yes, it is coming. I ordered it. It was actually on the weekend. I had it in my shopping cart for a while. I was umming and ahhing. I also bought the new webcam, the HQ webcam, and I bought both the wide angle and not the zoom, lost it. The two lenses. I bought the two lenses, right? I have checked out NDI. So last week I tried to set up NDI for the stream, and I couldn't. Every time I tried to initialize an IP camera, whatever it was, whether it was my phone or whatever, from OBS, my OBS hung. And so I was actually planning that for last week. And that's why my stream last week said that, hey, I've got it set up, I've got nothing to show you yet. I couldn't get it working. So my attempt is to try again, but this time I'm going to try doing it from a Raspberry Pi. So hopefully, yeah, I couldn't get it working from my phone. I tried two different phone plugins, and I tried two different versions of the NDI software. And apparently, if I roll back my OBS to I think it's 2 versions or 3 versions earlier, could be 2 versions earlier, that fixes the problem. But that was unstable on my machine. So yeah. I am trying. So yeah, the HQ camera is to see if I can, work on the next stages of my optical inspection thing. I checked the Twitter from Raspberry Pi. They sold more CM4s in the last months than all the CM3 together. Yeah, the CM4 is really impressive. I much prefer the CM3's form factor, but yes, I understand why they did that. Yeah, there's a participant section, but it only shows people that have messaged, which obviously I can only do that from chat anyway. But it keeps changing the order, like it's alphabetical, and so I can't just go through it because then it adds more back on top again. Hey, Osama Diaz, what's this about stencil paste printer? So I bought let me grab it. Whoa. It's not light. Oh, it's not light. Remember about not treating my back well? I bought a manual stencil printer, finally. This is a Neoden Neoden manual stencil printer. They are TinyPICO stencils. Hang on, let me put it back down again. Okay, they're intentionally heavy, but I probably didn't grab that very well when I took it off the table. Hey Colin, so the reason I bought that, I'll show you exactly why I bought it. Did I cover this last week? I covered this last week, I think, but yeah, I think Quixotic, you came in late. So just for those, just again to reiterate, I'm not in shorts. No, it's cold, I told you. Like yesterday was freezing. I started in shorts, and by the end of the day, I'd put some tracksuit pants on and a jacket, a hoodie. So this is how I normally do my stenciling, and it's been fine. It's the reason I've moved to frame stencils and the machine is nothing to do with reliability or registration or anything. Like I've got my stenciling really down pat, but doing stencils unframed, you end up with bowed stencils. The amount of pasting I do, the amount of uses I get out of a stencil, and you end up getting badly bowed stencils. And once they go like this, you don't get a good seal on the stencil to the PCB anymore. And so a couple of things happen. You end up with more smeared paste, or it's much harder to get an even paste across the board. And if it lifts a little bit, then not only do you get funky paste on pads, you get the chance of the paste going under the stencil. And then the next time you stencil, you got a chance of getting just smudged paste. And so the amount of times, the worse the bending gets, the more often I have to wipe down the stencil between each panel or every two panels, and it becomes a pain. So I would love an fully automatic stencil printer. I know the one I want. It's about $120,000, so it's never going to happen. Yeah, it's ridiculous how much they are, like for a really, really good one. But so I finally decided to get some framed stencils and to get a manual stencil printer. And yeah, I mean, it's great. It really is. My stenciling is as good as it was. Like, it's no better. But, yeah, just having I've never worked with a totally taut stencil before. And it's really nice. I don't have to worry about being super gentle when I'm cleaning it, so I don't push it or bend it or anything. Yeah. But your stencil printer and frame stencil will save you time. I don't think it'll save me time. No, I'm really fast at stenciling. So far, I can't, it's not making me stencil any faster than my previous way of doing it. So, yeah, it's not a time thing for me. It's a longevity of the stencil. Like, I was just going through too many stencils, I had to, rebuy stencils every 2 or 3 times I was ordering a set of boards. I'd have to buy it with another stencil because the stencils were deteriorating. Yeah, surely Charm High, make one that's more affordable. No, I mean, I can get one for $25,000 from Neoden, a fully automatic machine. I'm just... you got to aim high. I want a Yamaha. I want some of the high-end Yamahas. You aim high and then you get what you can get, right? Anyway, there's no need for me to get a manual, a fully automatic stencil printer at all, because as it is, I can stencil way faster than my pick-and-place machine can pick and place, right? The bottleneck is always going to be on the pick-and-place machine. And that's fine. But what I can do with a frame stencil that I couldn't do with my size stencils, because that was about as big as I can get a stencil to be able to hand stencil, right? That's as much as I can stencil in one go, whether it's, without having to have the area bigger than I can actually paste, right? But with the frame stencil, because it sits perfectly flush on the PCB, is held there, and it's should be, if it's set up properly, airtight. then I can technically make bigger panels, and I could paste half and half and get a good coverage, which means I could, in one pasting, I could have a panel that's got 2 or 3 times as many boards, which means I don't have to paste as much. The picker place will sit there longer placing them all. Does that make sense? I hope so. Get a bigger spreader. No, it's not about a bigger spreader. It's the fact that you to get it even, like, when you're pasting, you can't just keep going over the same area again and again. So yeah, like, when you paste and then when you look at your board afterwards and you've missed some pads, or you haven't pasted properly and it's too late because you've already lifted the stencil up and whatever. Yeah. Anyway, if you really need that machine, make it using a TinyPICO. King Knight. Yeah, it needs to be a little bit more advanced than what the TinyPICO can do. That's okay. What's your metric for production time? How have these new improvements changed it? Hey, Jeremy. Okay, so my best day ever, this is on, pre the N8 of building TinyPICOs, was a 14-hour day, and I built 180 TinyPICOs. I'm talking about assembled, stenciled and assembled, right? No, and reflowed, obviously. No reworking, no pulling them apart or cleaning, just the assembly part, right? A 14-hour day was 180 boards. On, what day is it? I think it was Sunday. I can't remember what day it was. It was Sunday. No, Monday? Monday. Sorry. I lost track of time. It's all a blur. On Monday morning, my second day of doing production on the N8 of the TinyPICOs, I did 240 boards in 3.5 hours, and that included a break in the middle. So on an 8-hour day of production, I'm pretty sure I could smash out probably 500-600 or maybe even more TinyPICOs. I don't know. So in terms of an improvement, it's pretty big. Now I still don't have the conveyor connected. I'm still taking every board off the machine and checking it visually before it goes in the oven, because I want to be 100% sure, right? If I was to put the conveyor on and just let every board go through and reflow no matter what, I reckon I could get to 600 to 700 boards a day I could do. And this is not a day of stress. This is just a day of waiting for the machine to go, right? Like, it's just, wait for the next board to be loaded so I can grab a board and put it in, queue it up type thing, right? And they're just going through. And that was the difference. So that 240 boards that I did, they were stress-free. I wasn't sitting there going, what mess am I going to get at the end of this? Right? It was just okay, cool. Occasionally there was the buttons are proving the biggest problem because of this slightly domed head on them. I'm getting maybe 1 or 2 buttons out of every 3 panels where there's a button that's sitting a bit funny because it shifted on the nozzle or something, right? They're things I don't even have to fix before they go in the oven, right? They're just easy to rework afterwards. I'm getting very few components that are moving through surface tension. What I do have a problem with, and this is something I've been thinking about, and I don't really want to move to a different size component. Hey, Simple Electronics. Excuse me. Is my FETs that I use, which is SOT 723. What I've just, they're a Chinese brand part, an Asian brand part. They're a really good part. Like, in terms of specs of the FET, they're one of the best I can get at that price point. What I found, though, is the reliability of the pins on the pads are not great. So they're a really tiny part, and quite often I'll find that some of the, just off the tape, off the reel, some of the pins are bent up. And they're tiny. Like, you got to look at we'll look at it in a second because I want to show you something else in a moment, right? Hey, Samuel, and hi to anyone that's come in that I haven't said hi to. So what I have discovered is the quality of the components is a problem. I get the same sometimes with my Schottky diodes, which are also Asian brand Schottky diodes. That because the pins on them are bent up slightly, they don't reflow very well. Like, it'll lift the component onto a corner because the component, when it's put down, it's not sitting flush on the pad. And I don't really know what to do about that, because I don't know if that's a quality of the part issue from the manufacturer, or if that's just consistent with that type of part across all of them. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've had some much more expensive FETs that I was trying out early on with TinyPICO from, what are they called? Start with M. Like a high-end brand. Can't remember the name. I'll think of it in a moment. And I'm pretty sure that I saw similar things on that, right? So they're the type of things that I'm finding I have to rework. No, not Mauser, they're a distributor. I'm talking about the actual, the manufacturer of the component. I actually bought them from Mauser. Don't know where they are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, it's fine. But the point is, they're the type of things I'm finding I have to rework, is because, I'll have to get my tweezers, hot air, get my tweezers, and really push the component down hard to get the solder to go over the top of it, because it's the pads, the pins on a slight angle, and that's frustrating because I'll get a perfect board out except for one FET on the panel or two FETs on the panel. Everyone's guessing the M1s. Keep guessing. We'll get there eventually, but no, none of those. But they're the only type of issues I'm having. So of that 240 boards, this is the kicker for me. It's okay, Chris, you don't have to pay attention. Not Murata, but getting close, mate. Hey, Patrick. So of the 240, one second. 16 panels? God, I can't even work it out now. Yeah, of the 16 panels I built in that run, 4 of the panels were perfect in and out. So they came off the pick and place machine, didn't need any touching, went into the oven, came out of the oven, didn't need any rework, right? And you might be thinking only 4 of 16. I have never, ever had a perfect panel before. Ever. So that is nuts. The fact that by my second day on the TinyPICO panels, I was already getting boards that didn't have to be touched. No, not Vishay. Starts with M. Anyway, I'll try to look it up later. I might have it in my parts. Anyway, so that's pretty cool. Let me show you something. So I got to the end of the 1,000 TinyPICOs for the first part of the order, and finished a reel of my Fractus antennas. Right, so the common issue on the other 12, there was maybe on a panel, so there's 15 boards on a panel, 34 components on a board. So what does that work out to? 34 times 15. So 520-ish parts, right? Hey Peter, I'll answer that in a question in a second. I'll answer in a second. So I'm just reading. No, it wasn't Motorola, Microl, no Maxim. I need to find this now. Okay, wait. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find the part. It should be. Okay, I'm an idiot. It doesn't start with M. It ends in M. I remember. Okay, sorry, my fault. It ends in M, but it's the sound of it. So it's a ROHM, ROHM. ROHM, M. Yeah, sorry. I sent you all on a wild goose chase. Anyway. So I got some ROHM. This is them here. So the manufacturing part number DTA 143 TMFHAT2L. SOT 723 bipolar. Oh, these are the transistors, right? This is, yeah, before I moved over to FETs. But SOT 723. So Roma, I mean, they're a well-known, well-established brand, right? Not a cheap brand of component, right? They're a good manufacturer, but I've had components from them again where the pads. Now I don't know whether it's part of the loading onto tape that happens or something else. I don't know. Yeah. So of the 520 parts, the type of issues I'd have would be maybe 1 or 2 passives on the whole panel that needed the surface tension, pushed it in one direction, so I had to hot air it. I don't have to touch it. Bit of hot air, and if I get the angle of the air in the opposite direction, it'll just push the part. And the other one is either the buttons or occasionally a FET I need to push down because it's got a slightly bent foot. Like I've also had some of my shotkeys that, you know, they're supposed to be 2 even length pads at the end, but one pad is long and one pad's short. Like it's just a manufacturing thing on the part, but it affects what happens on the board when your ROMs do what the ROMs do. Well, I can't contact the manufacturer on my Asian brand parts because, yeah, I mean the data sheets aren't even in English, or they're in part English. So yeah, no flip parts. No sideways parts. I'm seeing very little drift on my feeders. A little bit, but very little drift. Yeah, it's running great. It's not running as optimal as it could be, and right now I have to decide. Like I could have kept pushing it on the weekend and got the machine faster, but I got it to a point where it was really reliable, and so I just wanted to leave it and let it go. Right. You know, every time I was starting a new panel, I thought to myself, I should make it faster. No, leave it. No, it's not the pads for the passives. It's really not, because I've got 22 passives on the board, and most of the boards are fine, and occasionally 1 or 2 passives on a panel will be out, right? Changing the pad is not going to solve that. I don't know what I could possibly do to the pad to solve that when the percentage of them is tiny that it happens on. And I've had boards where it hasn't happened at all. Does that make sense, Jay? I don't think, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I can see sometimes that the placement, it's too much into one pad. It's a precision thing. You know, sorry. So my hay fever I had previous week turned into a sinus infection. So I've had a sinus infection the last week. I get them a couple of times a year, and it's still finishing. I'm feeling fine, but yeah, I've still got a bit of a nasal. You might hear it, and throat. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Jay, like the number of times it's happening is so low now. Look, it might also be a tiny tweak to the oven profile. You know what it could, and again, you know what it could be? It could be that this time I ran the panel and it was the room was a little bit too cool, right? Or this time I ran the panel and the room was a little bit too hot. Like, there are so many variables now. It's just really hard to know. Yeah, but I'm wrapped. Hey, did you cool things? Am I going to do anything with the C3? Probably not. So the problem with the C3... sorry, I've got so much to cover. Got another patron, Jack O'Gara. Thanks very much. The problem with the C3 is there's going to be no Arduino support at the start. Maybe not at all. Maybe not from Espressive, right? There's going to be maybe a MicroPython support at some point because there's already RISC-V kind of MicroPython support. there won't be CircuitPython because there's no proper USB stack in it. And so who's going to use it? Like, you know, to rush out to try to come up with some type of C3 type board. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't think so. I'm more interested in the S3 right now. I've got some stuff in the works for that. Obviously S2 and then S3, and I'm more interested in that range of product. Or if they ever do a RISC-V board that's actually got chip that's actually got proper native USB, then maybe. I think so. We'll see. Does the N8 have the option of a board warmer? No. No board warmer option. Oh! Thanks for the Patron support. I pronounced your name. How could I not get it right? Ogara. How else would anyone say that? Anyway, Jack, thanks very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so it's not a full USB stack, so it can't do mass storage, which means it can't do what CircuitPython needs. Just a personal finish, perhaps. What things do we have to do? Okay, so the 4 of the 16 was I'm still tuning. Like, there's still parts of the placement on the board that I can improve, right? But it gets to a point where, you know, I could spend half an hour playing and tuning and trying things, or I could just smash boards out, right? And right now I just need to smash boards out. I think I could solve 80% of the 5% of the issues that are left, right? Just by spending some more time tuning component placement, right? Like, there's never one specific part that has an issue. If there was one part that repeatedly had the issue, I could tune that one part, but it isn't. And as I said, there are boards I've had that have been totally perfect. So look, I'm okay. I'll keep tuning tiny bits, but Espressif do not have a roadmap available. They don't publish a public roadmap. No. They don't even have a private roadmap, from my understanding. They're very... I mean, sure, there's always been a lot of leaks from Espressif. They're a leaky ship internally, right? But they really try to not announce stuff before it's A, ratified, or B, they want to hold on to their information to not give any of their competitors anything. Yeah. Can it do real UART? Yeah, it can do real UART, I believe, the C3. There's some really nice things inside. I mean, don't get me wrong, RISC-V and the C3 is going to be amazing. This could be a real turning point for Espressif for many reasons. I mean, there's a cost factor for them using the current cores that they're using, and you know, or if they were ever to try to introduce ARM or something else, like by using RISC-V and using, you know, a free open source instruction set, I don't know if they're licensing anyone else's RISC-V design or whether they've done their own. But even if they license someone else's RISC-V design, it's got to be hugely cheaper than using their Lexa cores that they're using right now, right? The extensor cores. And that could just make it, that could be a game changer for them if they've got their own control over their CPU design, right? And RISC-V is amazing. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'd be happy if they moved all of their architecture over to RISC-V over time, so long as their hardware was the same. You know, like it was. But right now the C3 is their first chip. It's a stepping stone, right? And you know, having USB on there to make it be able to do what, for instance, an ESP32, not the S2, but a 32 or an 8266 can do, not needing a separate UART is great, right? Having all that internal is fantastic, but having it not be a full USB stack, well, you know, baby steps. Hey, Professor Sparkles. Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know about Espressif taking the lead. There are already vendors out there using RISC-V that are way more advanced, like what is it, the K10, K210 and stuff. I think Espressif will be playing catch up for a long time in the RISC-V space, but they have a whole lot of other stuff, like all their radio stuff that most other vendors don't have. So they're in a good position to be one of the first to have a fully all-rounded solution. It's definitely exciting. The C3 is definitely exciting. I don't think I'm going to rush out with some hardware. Like even the Feather S2 for me, like I'm glad I got it out when I did. I think I got it out at exactly the right time. But even still, there's no full Arduino support yet, and that's kind of stalled-ish a bit at the moment. There's IDF, and that's being slowly worked on. CircuitPython has been worked on, and they're putting a lot of effort into the S2, which is fantastic. But there's still things missing, and there's still bugs and stuff, and they're on it. They're the Adafruit team are doing a fantastic job. There's still no MicroPython. Like bringing out hardware early, yeah. And also remember, yes, it's an ESP8266 compatibility type thing that they're making, but it will not work with any of the 8266 software. Is everyone clear on that? Right? You can get a C3 module that is the ESP01 type thing, or it can look exactly like a D1 Mini, whatever you want, I don't care. It will not work with anything that's out there right now with the 8266. It's incompatible. So that's the thing that I think people might be missing right now. The people that are hardware focused might not be missing that, but the people in the I play with microcontroller space and here's a new thing coming out to replace my 8266s, right? It won't replace anyone's 8266s. Because you can't use it in Arduino land, and it won't be compatible with any Arduino code, and it's not going to be whatever the IDF version of it that will come out for it, what support will be there for it, might not have full IDF support at the start. And your Tasmotors, well actually I don't know what Tasmotor's built on, so I can't, right? But you know what I mean? Like, nothing's going to work. It's not going to be compatible. It's going to be pin hardware compatible. There's going to be no compatible software stack for it. Not for a while. Not for a long while. And I believe, I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this, but I believe that Espressif are going to want to leverage the community to get all that happening, not them doing it. They might participate in, right? But, yeah. If the C3 dropped tomorrow, if you could get it in your hands tomorrow, could be till the middle of next year till you can use it for anything. Right, if you want to play around with the low-level RISC-V stuff, or you want to play around the IDF level, absolutely. For sure. But most people who play around with 8266s don't. Right? That's really big and heavy in the Arduino space. So yeah, I think that people just have to temper their expectations there. So I ran out of my Fractus antennas. I already had more. I'd already bought more. But at that point in time, this happened. Oh, okay. Let's try that again, shall we? Oh no! And just like that, my camera is not working. My DSLR. Let's try that again. I should have checked it first. Ho hum. Oh, come on. Why aren't you working? Have I knocked it out? Maybe I knocked it out. It's on the list. Okay, let's just unplug it and plug it back in again. Sorry, folks. Yay! Yay! Okay, so what happened? Well, as many of you pointed out ages ago, Fractus have changed their antenna. They have new branding. So there's the new antenna. So now I've got all my V2 boards going out to Crowd Supply and whichever boards I'm going to be shipping now. And the Facebook antenna's gone and their new one has come back. And as you can see, it's got square edges now. And it's slightly wider, which is interesting because I had a big chat with Fractus before I ordered these, because I could have had the option of buying more of the older ones. So one of the reasons they went with this new shape is because they've had a lot of issues trying to get clean cuts with the rounded corners of the current antenna. They've had a lot of issues trying to get clean cuts, and you can see there's a bit of garbage on the end of that one there. I've had some antennas that have had a lot of garbage on the end of them. Might be able to, like you can see on this one, right? That it's just not neat. They could never get neat antennas. They are the same height. Might be a bit hard to see. They're the same height. They're the same character. Well, they look the same height. Same characteristics, but they do seem just a fraction wider. So yeah, I don't mind the look of it. But yeah, there's now going to be two different coloured antennas. So I need to, so you might have seen from my thumbnail of the video, of the stream today, that I had the white antenna on there. I don't know if anyone spotted that. It might be a fraction taller. Yeah, it's hard to, it wasn't supposed to be. So it's really, I'm doing this on a box to get it close enough to the camera. Yeah, it might be a fraction thicker. So, anyway, new antennas. Woohoo! Back to Officeworks to print new cards. Exactly. So all my cards, no, I've already, well, it's not Officeworks, but yeah, I've already got 4,000 cards here. So I won't be changing my cards. Flip it over so the board edges line up with the top. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the point is, new antennas in, so now from now on, all the boards are going to have these antennas, not these ones. They do look nicer, I agree. They're still not perfect on the edges, but they don't have all the rubbish around the corners. So, yeah, so I'm glad I went with the new ones and not keeping the blue ones. Characteristics-wise, they're identical. Well, as far as Fractus are concerned, they're identical. Yeah, so that's my very first board I made with the new antenna. I've only got one. Yeah, anyway, so that's exciting. Hey Bruce, okay, right, so yeah, you're gonna, yeah, if Tasmoda's built off, whether it's Platform IO or Arduino IDE, but if it's built in the Arduino ecosystem, yeah, that's not gonna, they're gonna have to convert all that. Head-to-head test needed. Yeah, I don't really have any equipment here to do proper head-to-head testing on that. But obviously, any pre-compliance work that I get done, which I'm still speaking to that company, I'll have to do on the new antenna, not the old one, because I can't build using the old one. Now, what I don't know yet, though, is whether this new antenna is going to pick in place properly, because it's white. So I hand placed that one on there on a panel because I wanted to see what it looked like. But yeah, I've not pick and placed a panel with these white ones yet. So they're white on the bottom as well. And that might make it interesting to see what happens with the pick and place machine. Okay, so any other questions or things I can tell you before I jump into Eagle? No, it shouldn't be a problem. But what it's going to capture is going to be different. So with the diffractors, with the blue antennas, is blue on the bottom, what it was capturing was the pads and calculating the center point from that. With a completely white antenna, it's going to capture the whole antenna. The problem with that is what's going to happen if there's an antenna that's got a bit of gunk sticking out the side. Is it going to capture that as well, and will it change the center point? Like if the debris from the cutting of the PCB from stack is got a bit of debris on one side only and it's capturing the whole antenna, it could give me a slightly off-center placement. Have you done any of the CE marking bollocks? I've not done any CE marking because I can't mark my boards CE. I can't self-certify my boards without knowing if they will pass certification. So I'm speaking to a company here in Melbourne about doing pre-certification. The costs on the quote keep going up before it's even started. So I'm currently looking at about between $1,000 and $1,200 just to get my Feather S2 and my TinyPICO as they stand right now through radiation-based pre-certification, which I'm still willing to do just for my own knowledge and to know where I stand. It'd be a worthwhile experience going through that process, but I don't understand half the stuff they're talking about, and I need more hand-holding from them, if that makes sense. Seon, in one of the latest streams you mentioned cleaning the edges of the boards. How do big companies handle that task? So that's interesting. I've asked Adafruit a few times and I haven't heard how they do theirs, and they tend to do way more mouse bites. Well, they don't do V-score at all. They try to do everything with mouse bites. I don't know how they clean those, and sometimes I've kind of been... None of their boards have arrived ugly, but not all of their boards have arrived pristine that I've bought, right? But in terms of V-scoring, what a lot of the larger companies do is they'll separate their boards through like really high-end milling machines, or you can buy specific laser milling machines. That doesn't make sense because it's not milling. They're like laser cutters, but they're designed for separating PCBs. They're really expensive. They're not CO2 lasers, right? They're plasma or whatever they are, and they're just designed to separate boards. And then you can get those cheap Chinese depaneling boards, but I can't make myself do that. I think they're going to destroy my boards. I don't know. Can you pay that certification company with a great P&P that you happen to have in your garden? Yeah, I don't think they're interested. They don't manufacture. I don't think they're going to want the P&P in return. Yeah, those pizza cutting depanelizing boards, I don't think they'll handle like the JST connector sitting on the edge of my Feather S2s and stuff. So yeah, I'm doing all my boards still on my sanding system. I don't think they'd use water jet cutters to separate PCBs. Excuse me. I think there would be way too many chances of damaging the board doing that. I don't know. High-speed carbide cutters with a chamfering setup. Chamfering. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I know that EM Logic they sell a particular laser-based machine that's designed to separate boards. Really expensive. Yeah. I'll have to keep doing what I'm doing. WaterJet's awesome. I just don't know if it would be doing WaterJet if you do WaterJet on PCBs. I know what it can cut, but it's also messy. Laser-based board cutter would smell horrible. I don't know. Hey Joe, I don't know if it would. Like, we're not talking about normal CO2 laser cutting. You know, we're not talking about a laser that goes like this across the board. I mean, those plasma, and we're talking about specialized machines, right? We're not talking about wide beam plasmas. We're not talking about plasmas are designed to cut through really thick stuff. These are just for PCB cutting, and they're really. Why EDM machine? Yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't know if you could cut FR4 with that. I don't know. Look, my bottleneck now is the separating and the testing and the cleaning. Like I've been not dreaming. I've been trying in my head to work out how I could build a multi-board tester. It's not worth it. Like at this stage. Like I keep saying that. Like I don't know how many more TinyPICOs I'm going to build in the future, right? But I've got other boards, coming, and I've got coming up some way of doing a multi-board tester where I can stick it, maybe a strip. Maybe if it's not a whole panel, because the whole panel can't work, right? Because whatever I do, it's always going to be USB connectors. I have to do the USB connectors. When I say have to, my choice, but everything gets tested via USB. But for instance, if I could test 5 at a time, like a strip of 5, so separate these into 3 strips of 5 and test 5 at a time, that might be better. I don't know. Adafruit is still testing one at a time. It looks like, because you just get multiple jigs, right? You keep making more jigs and you get more people on it to test it or whatever. But their runs of boards aren't the same size of mine right now. Like when they put a run through, they might, I don't know, I'm guessing. I'd imagine that, that they'd make, hundreds of boards at a time, like maybe 500 boards they might run or something. Or if it's something like really popular, like the Cutie Pie or something, that, they might run 1,000 or something at a time. I don't know, I'm guessing, right? When I'm doing smaller runs, it's not a problem. But doing, pulling apart and cleaning edges and testing and ultrasonic cleaning and retesting 3,000 or 4,000 boards in a short period of time, that's hard. That's an intense period of manual labor. If that was spread out, it wouldn't be so bad. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I'm quite happy with the way my test jigs and my cleaning system works when I'm not under the pressure of standing there, with a pile of 500 boards that I need to do it to. I can't. Yeah, well, they do bit of nail testing. So I've from what I've seen on their videos, if they're testing something, they do it with their pogo pins, doing test points underneath. I could do that and speed myself up, but then I'm never testing the USB connectors. And I don't get a failure on a USB connector often, but I get it often enough that it would cost me too much to replace a board. So my problem is if I ship out a faulty board, or if Adafruit ship a board and it gets to a customer and it's faulty, I need to replace the board, right? Or if I ship a board out to someone, I need to replace it. The problem for me is the cost of replacing that one board isn't just the lost money on the second board, right? But it's the postage. Right now, the postage, I have to sell 4 or more TinyPICOs to make up the cost of one postage I need to send if I have to replace a board. So it's not worth me sending out a board that could be faulty. For the extra 30 seconds it takes me per board to plug the USB connector in to check it, it's worth it for me, right? To not have faulty boards I need to replace. Have to check the USB plugging it in. Is there some other way of verifying it? No, every single board gets plugged in to the test jig with the USB, and it gets flashed and tested by the USB. Absolutely. Because I have to test the whole board. And it's my choice. I don't have to test the whole board. But, yeah. I've had so many boards arrive from China where there's shorts on the USB pins. It's clearly never been tested. An automated USB tester is easy to do if you want to check the connector. Well, I still have to plug it in though, right? And if I'm plugging it in, I might as well do the whole test via the USB. It's no faster to flash it via test pins as it is to flash it via the USB. So I'm not saving any time. No, it's not 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Well, it is round trip. It's not 30 seconds. It's 4 seconds, whatever. You know what I mean? My point is, you know, yeah, okay. I shouldn't have said 30 seconds. I'm just... I mean, how does it take? 2.5 seconds to plug it in, 2.5 seconds to unplug it, right? Insert USB, wrong side, flip it, wrong side. Well, hey Ed, yeah, if it doesn't go in upside down. Excuse me. Assemble on a little stepper, plugs it in to connector. Yeah, I don't know. I don't... I've ordered my PiCo M4, test jig, baseboards, PCB now, HDMI, Ethernet. Cool, Mark. Hi, by the way. Hey, J-Man. What if you put a whole bunch of PCB mount male micro USB connectors on one PCB so you can plug a whole panel in at the same time? Right, that's what I've been thinking of doing. Rather than having individual cables, there'd be a board that gets plugged in to them and all the cables go into that. So it's board in, board out. Right now I'm trying to work out in my head, not how would I get all the cables in, but how would I test the boards simultaneously? Because I don't believe I can do threading, actual proper threading on the USB stack on the Pi. So right now the slowest part of the whole test process is flashing, is erasing and flashing the board, right? The chip, the flash. And that, I can't do more than one of those at a time, I don't believe. Right, I'd have to get 4 Pis, and if I'm going to do, or 5 Pis if there's 5 boards, right? And if I'm going to have 5 Pis sitting there doing that's no different to, like, that's, yeah, I've already got 5. For the sake, like, to go to that expense and how that would all fit on my desk and cables everywhere, whatever, just to save myself from plugging in some USBs, I can do that right now with 5 individual Pis. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really think that's... Hey, Chris. Oh, there are... Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there are many expensive and time-consuming ways of designing solutions for this. All right? I'm not after expensive and time-consuming solutions. You know what I mean? Like, you're right. Like designing test jigs is an art, and there's a whole ecosystem and industry around that. Cheap and easy, not expensive and hard. Okay. Well, I challenge you then to design something, Chris. So, yeah. Yeah, because it's not just about flashing a board. I don't need 5 USBs connected and flashed it. I still need to test the board. I need to test every pin on every board and test the functionality of every board. Your name's ordered by first message, not by name. Oh wow, Dustin, you've been off coding this whole time, have you? That is awesome. So let's look at Mark's test jig. Is this going to be a picture of Mark's test jig? I think it might be. Can I share this? Well, obviously you posted it, so clearly I can share it. So Mark's built this is test jig board for a Pi compute. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense for me to do a board like this, to make a custom board to stick a CM4 on it when I can just use a Pi 4. Have you tried WD-40? Who's that to? Test of production used at companies I've worked for were greater than 100k each. Yeah, they were more advanced automated applications. I can't currently use a microcontroller to flash and test the board. I've been asking for ages for, from Damien, from MicroPython Damien George, about a way to flash a easily flash an ESP32 with an ESP32. Like, that would be really cool, right? Hey, bit loony. But yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, I can use a Raspberry Pi. Like, there's no reason why I'd have to use another microcontroller, right? I don't want, like, building testing 5 TinyPICOs at a time, 5 boards at a time by using 5 test jigs at a time. I've already got that solution, right? Hey, Emery. It's not about the number of ports on the Pi. It's about I can't be flashing 8 boards at the same time, right? Like, it's a software stack issue. Like, if it has to flash one at a time, even if afterwards, whether I use async IO or threads to test each board simultaneously, right? I can only flash one board at a time. Plug in an entire bank of boards at once. Yes, but I can only flash one board at a time. I cannot be reading and writing to the USB software stack from the Pi at the same time. So I'd have to be running multiple Raspberry Pis and then some type of controller talking to them all, controlling them all, right? This is not a hardware issue, this is a software issue. You test a few different boards, not many different types. It's basically the most efficient for you to buy multiple Pis. Yeah, for sure. I mean, your test jig for your situation is probably a perfect solution. And in hindsight, you know, if the CM4 would have been around back then when I started, because don't forget I started building this on a Pi, before the Pi 4 was out, right? Pi 3. Yeah, like I maybe would have come up with a different solution now and not used a Pi specifically, because there's a whole bunch of the Pi I don't need, right? I don't need Ethernet on there. Like, it would have been a very different design had I have done it that way, right? I wouldn't have had to break out the USB connectors, right? So, like, right now on my, they're all inside my house. I have all my test jigs lined up on my dining room table when I was testing. Like right now, I've got a cable going from the Pi to my adapter board and then out again, right? Like, I wouldn't have had to do any of that. It could have, like, you know, like, you've broken out the USB connectors on your board, but I wouldn't have had to. I could have had them wired directly to, well, you might have already done it, like a cable that just goes straight into your test board. Anyway, but there's no point in me investing in doing this now when I've already got a whole bunch of test jigs built and working and an ecosystem built around it already. Should be able to get it to spit out to any of the USB ports in sequence. Right, but the flashing is a blocking process. It's a, like, one Raspberry Pi can't run 5 versions of ESP Tool at the same time to different USB ports that I'm aware of. I can't work out how that would work, right? So if I can't flash 5 boards at once, there's no point having a test jig that can test 5 boards at once, right? Of a 37-second test cycle, 30 seconds of it is to do with erasing and flashing. If I'm only saving myself, if I can only do 7 seconds of it simultaneously, then there's no point doing it. But if I load a dozen, right, now we're at a dozen boards, right? Well, I can't do a dozen boards. I can only do a maximum of 5 at a time if it's going to be an adapter. Otherwise, I'm individually pulling apart. I still have to pull the boards apart, right? Which means I have to mount the boards individually. And you're forgetting one thing. How am I going to test all the pins on a dozen boards? So if all I'm doing is making a system where I don't have to plug in I don't have to have 12 test jigs, but I have to have this behemoth thing that I can connect 12 boards. And if all I'm doing is, like, what am I saving there? I can't do 2 rows because the USB connectors can't get access, right? But yeah, I have to build a system that can do, whatever. It doesn't matter if it's 5 boards. What am I saving? I'm saving the amount of time. I've got 5 test jigs, and I'm saving the amount of time it takes me to load up one board USB, one board USB, one board USB, one board USB, one board USB. Right? That's all I'm saving. If they're not running concurrently, and if I do those 5 individual boards, they run concurrently. In 37 seconds, plus the time it takes to put the USB in and out, I've got 5 boards done. A panel holds 15 boards, but you can't get access to the USB connectors unless these are separated. So I end up with 5. Sure, I can make bigger panels, but that's a whole different situation and a whole different issue. Have I tried flashing 2 boards at once with the ESP tool? Yes, I have. It didn't work. But there might be a way of doing it. I don't know, right? Anyway, so we're going off on a big tangent here, right? I'm not saying there isn't a solution for this. I'm saying I can't think of a solution that adds any benefit unless I can concurrently flash multiple boards at the same time on 1 jig. Then it's not worth doing it. You keep missing steps though, Chris. Okay, and how am I testing all the I/O on all those 15 boards? So I have to come up with some crazy system that lets me mux all the I/O to this board and then all the I/O to... No. How am I testing the I/O? Not how am I connecting them? So I've got 15 lots of pogo pins, and how are they all wired? What are they wired to? It's not indexes. How many I/Os on a Raspberry Pi? So I have to set up multiple muxes that I have to then control. Like I'm basically reproducing my test jig 5 times. One set of pogo pins move the whole strip down. So I have to build a completely mechanical solution now that lifts up a board, moves it, puts it back down, clamps it, lifts up a board, moves it. What I said to you it's going to be hard and complex, and you said no, easy. That's not easy. Right, a 2317 has 16 ports, great. And I need 14 per board. So I have to put 15 MCP 23017s on there? It's replicating my test jig 15 times. Again, nothing that anyone's offering here is actually a better solution than what I'm doing right now. It's actually a way more complex, more expensive, harder to design and maintain solution. Okay, yeah, I agree. Let's move on. I love being challenged, folks. I really love being challenged. Hey, Toshipu, but you guys need to think of the whole picture. I appreciate you all. I really do. I do. But there's a whole picture here. The simple answer to all of this, you're waiting for me to get the FPGA-based tester designed. Right. But how's an FPGA solution from scratch easier, quicker, or cheaper than what I've got working right now? The only speed increase you can get is to have the USB plug fixed to the test jig. Right, that would be the only real maybe benefit, right? And that's not enough of a benefit to spend hundreds or $1,000 redesigning a new test jig that may or may not give any other benefits or not. Hey Ben, okay, so did everyone get the gag? Did everyone get the whole USB-C on TinyPICO? Yeah? I hope everyone got that gag. Time for a work experience kit. I'm waiting for you to offer to come down, Mike. Our borders are open. I'm waiting for Mike to come and visit me, and he can sit there testing all the jigs. testing all the boards on the jigs. Hey Gabo Vagra. Yeah, Raspberry Pi is fun. Okay. Best that have to be explained. I didn't have to explain it. I was wondering if everyone got it. Anyway, so folks have been asking me for ages about why I don't have USB-C on the TinyPICO. And the main reason is it's going to change the form factor. And as much as I love USB-C, not everyone wants USB-C still. So this is USB-C on my Pro S2, which is a TinyPICO form factor for the first 10 pins. So I am going to, I don't know if I can copy this. So I'm going to make a revision of my TinyPICO, at least as a prototype. Really? Why aren't you selecting? At least as a prototype to lost track I was going to say. To put USB-C on it, to have a play, to have one. And maybe I might make a version of the board if people want a USB-C version. But the board is going to have to be bigger. I don't know how much bigger yet. As long as it's also black. What? I'll test them and charge 50 euros a piece. Wow. That's cheap. Too cheap, Michael. Hi, by the way. Okay. Whoops, didn't mean to click that. Okay. I've always started messing around with some space on this. So we're going to kill off that USB connector. Bye! I want to put black LEDs. Wow, black LEDs, that'd be cool. Go away. I mean, you can see how different this is. And the other problem is going to be the JST pads at the bottom won't work anymore. So we're probably going to have to lose the JST connector. Oh, maybe, we'll see. Oh, really? Okay. Part of me wants to upgrade my Eagle to get rid of this space thing. You know, the you can't go out of the working area because I've only got a standard license. But then part of me just doesn't want to do that. Okay, let's just move this out and away from the corner. That was silly. Just move it sideways. I don't know how much I need to move it though. Okay, that's better. So do they do micro USB-C? No, there's just the one standard for USB-C. Any MicroPath examples for the IPS display Hey Joshua. Speak to Mike Kauser. He's plays around with MicroPython with all those displays. I don't know if he's got that one or the 7789. No, I think he's got the other one. Yeah, he might have a driver and some example code. I wish the USB-C connectors were a little bit easier to work with. I don't have any problem from a manufacturing point of view. I don't get bridges or anything on them, but yeah, I feel like I agree, Chris. Like the way they've got their peg legs and where they all are and everything, I think that it could have been handled better, I guess. I don't know what the right wording is. Okay. Fix that in a second. Zero. Yeah, dimensions don't have to be zero, by the way, on the board outline. I just like keeping them zero because I feel like they sit further in the background if I do that. Chocolate. Who's talking about chocolate? Yum. Okay, so I'm getting that stupid clicking thing again. Okay, well, first things I have to do is get rid of the values. Nope, not that one. Okay, so my LEDs and my resistor for the LED are going to have to move. Get rid of my inner layers. So on my Pro S2, I've got them over here. The problem is I need to make the board a bit longer. Because not only do they need to fit in there, but I need to leave space for people to solder headers in. I can't have the component too close to the headers. And I'll probably, like I did on the Pro S2, stick the 5.1Ks over here as well. Dark milk, really? Yum. I love dark chocolate. Definitely a dark chocolate fan. Oops. I wonder if it's available in Australia. I've not seen it, but could be. So I need to get the stat pin over here somehow. Chewing on 9N chocolate almonds. Yum. Cadbury manufactures in Australia. There's a Cadbury factory. I think it's in Tasmania. Dark chocolate for milk chocolate fans. Not fully dark chocolate, but it's good. Interesting. Yeah, like Yaz doesn't like dark chocolate. I like all chocolate, but definitely dark chocolate's my favourite. Bitter dark chocolate. Yum. Not too bitter, but yeah. I have to move this over. Yeah, so the JST connector is interesting. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get it all the way over. How do you milk an almond? Carefully. With your fingers. Yeah. Okay, so let's just rough this in and see what we can do. D minus D plus, and that's VBAT. That's interesting. VBAT's all over there now. So I need my power plane. As you can see, it's going through. No. That's okay. We've definitely got more space under here now. Ovaltine. Wow. I've known that for a while. So I might have a bit more space. I don't know. 6. Okay. Oh, they're not called the right names. I should call them the right names. D plus. Now the question is, that I've got for everyone, really dangerous asking these questions. Hey, hello, Mallow. Hello. Does this mean going forward you're going to transition all of your future? Yeah, I've already committed to any new boards I make are going to be USB-C. I'm not going to be doing micro B anymore. Well, yeah, all my new boards, right? But I think having a USB-C version of the TinyPICO, now that I can reliably build and I don't have to stress over how I'm going to make it. Like, before the N8, introducing new boards to build was just too stressful for me, right? Like the whole thought process of how am I going to make this and how reliable is it going to be and all that type of stuff put me off making anything new. Or expanding what I've already got. But now that I can reliably play stuff, like I'm just going to... Hello, Mello just worked it out. Right. But now that I can play stuff reliably, yeah, I'm definitely keen on not only just doing this, but yeah, doing more now. Yeah. Okay. Really annoying. Plus and D. Okay, that wasn't great, but we'll fix it. Okay, so D plus, D minus. That ground doesn't go there. I can't put a pad there. Where can I get where's my nearest ground? Guess it's going to be this. Okay. Interesting, I've only got that as 10. I don't know if anyone's already asked, is there something other to think about when switching to USB than new footprint to the plug? Just making sure that you got the 5.1k resistors on there for the power negotiation to get the 5 volts. You don't want to leave them off. Just ask the Raspberry Pi folks. That's really it. Yeah, other than the connector, picking a connector that you're happy with. So yeah, the question is, and this is dangerous, if I'm going to elongate, I mean the pins will be the same, the 10 pins, right? But if I'm going to elongate the board anyway, is there anything else that we could change on the board? Like would the, I'm asking what your thoughts are. Would the aim be to just make a USB-C version of the TinyPICO, or to make something more? I don't know. It's always a dangerous thing with the something more, isn't it? I feel like that's a slippery slope. I feel like I can turn these around, and that would help me. Maybe. Hey folks, I'll be back in 1 second. 1 sec. I need to quickly run out and speak to Yaz. I'm just going to put that up. Not 1 second. I'm back in 2 minutes. I'm back. Sorry. I sat to check with Yaz to see if Flynn was staying home while she went to take Ollie to school. That's all. But it's all good. Flynn's going with her. I vote nothing more. You just save my PCB design. Didn't know about the 5 corner. Cool. Okay. Yeah, you need the 5.1k resistors. I thought a high power TinyPICO that has power delivery to a set of power pins. Yeah, that's not a TinyPICO. That's a completely different board, Albert. Hi, by the way. I mean, that would need to be a considerably larger board to get all the power delivery stuff on there as well, plus extra pins. Yeah, that's probably not where I'm looking at going. This hurts to watch. What hurts? Make the board wider, add RGB LEDs all along the edge, and make it a festive Pico. Ah, Ben. Festive Pico. Yeah, I saw that, Mark. ESD protection. My Pro SX, I'm calling it right now, has ESD protection, but I don't know. I mean, yeah. I don't know about ESD protection on it. I was talking about if the board's going to be slightly bigger anyway, then add more pins. I don't know. Ooh, it's a myth. It's a myth. Need to straighten these. This is align tool again. No, that's mirror. Align. Center. Boop. Okay. Oh, you gotta be kidding. Be careful how close I get it to the edge of the board, but also get it away from the headers. I'll have to measure. Yeah, ESD protection, there's actually no certification to do with ESD protection. That's to do with USB certification. There's no, like in terms of FCC or CE or whatever else, ESD doesn't come into play there. Only to, I don't believe, I could be wrong, I believe ESD is part of the USB certification. Well, I can't really do EMI rejection unless I know what I'm rejecting. I don't think EMI rejection is, not the type of thing I'm looking for, like when I'm asking about changes. I was talking about more about features, board features, than, yeah. Hey Alan, has it had coffee? No, my TinyPICO has not had coffee, and I need more coffee, for sure. It's a bit yuck. How about adding a design in KiCad feature? Yeah, probably not. Feature request designed with KiCad logo. Very least put filters on the power pins with inline ferrite. But why, Chris? That would be something I would add if, as part of a certification process, if I was getting the board certified. Putting arbitrary ferrite beads on there isn't going to really do much. And it's not needed for a development board, for a prototyping board. Sound level is much lower. Is it? Shouldn't be. Haven't changed anything. How about a short circuit detection? You grilled a TinyPICO. How did you grill a TinyPICO? Apple headphones and the price, crazy. Handbag case looks horrible. Yeah, I saw the okay, but have you measured how noisy the TinyPICO is? Ground in 3.3 volts. Oops. Oops. Yeah, I mean I've shorted. Well, no, you shouldn't have damaged your board though, unless you did it for a really long time and you sucked a whole amount of juice through it. I've shorted TinyPICO stacks of times, and they're fine. What did you kill? Right. Okay. Wow, you must have left it shorted for a very long time to kill the regulator. Yeah, I continually short TinyPICOs. Catch you later, Quixotic Geek. Thanks for joining. Right, so couldn't that be solved, Chris, with using like special type of USB cables? Rather than have to do something at the board level, just arbitrary putting ferrite beads on. I mean, that's got to be done properly. Yeah, like you can't just... Yeah, I don't like the look at the AirPod Pro Max, whatever they're called. I know I've got some Bose Quiet Comfort 2s, which I don't like bulky headphones on me. I look ridiculous with them, but yeah. I mean, that sounds like a good product idea for a USB cable, right? What am I doing? I'm totally distracted now. Totally distracted. Okay. Need to group these ones and center them. And then I want them to be the same as this. What are they? 2, 2, 6. Should make these all the same. Does the inspector not? Right, okay. Let's make this panel a bit smaller so you can see what I'm doing over here. I'm just going to make all these X values the same. Yay. Okay. I'll look at the Y spacing later. Yeah, I like my bows. I like the sound quality on them, and the noise cancelling is really great for those people that don't have issues with the type of noise cancelling it does. But I wish they weren't so big. Catch you later, Leon. Thanks for joining. Okay, so I need to get CC1 and CC2 all the way through. Set the ground pads right. Not where I want it. And CC1. Let's just get rid of this ground pad for the moment. Live in the 1990s with my Itmotics in-ear. Marshall Monitor Steel Edition. Catch you later, Kevin. Yay! Have fun playing with them. Don't short 3.3 volts and ground. Okay, so that's ground, USB, that's fine, that's power. Should really fix that. Don't like angled traces. And that's stat. Okay. Now I need to look at the JST. Why is it not letting me? Right, okay. Great. Where can I put it? I mean, I can technically get the shield. So on the USB-C, the shield pads are not grounded. They're just, it's not ground, right? On the JST connector, I've got them grounded. Basically for more opportunity for heat dissipation. Thanks, Dustin. I'll have a look after the stream if that's okay. Yeah? Or do you want me to look while I'm on the stream? Okay, what additional pins could you break out? You're not already available. I still think simple USB TinyPICO Pro would be the right change. I don't know. I mean, I could get IO0 out, which is not broken out right now. I could technically get RX and TX out for those people that wanted to use them if they weren't using USB, because they can be used as IO. IO9 I can break out. IO2 I could break out. Assuming I could even get them routed. I don't know. I mean, I could probably add a couple of extra IO, but I'd have to make the board be considerably longer. It's probably not worth it. So the JST connector needs to be near the edge of the board to get the connector in, but I've got to be careful that I'm not. I mean, maybe there. Can you just right click and select all on a participant list or API? You don't need the UART, Chris. I mean, the TinyPICO, you can use any pins as hardware UART. You got 3 hardware UARTs on ESP32. So UART 0 is taken for USB. You can't play with those unless you want to, as I said, use RX and TX without the USB connector. But you can create 2 other hardware UARTs. So yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I ended up compiling it myself, WLED, to use a different pin. It's really frustrating that they pick IO2. But anyway. Do all of the ports have flow control? Yeah, they're full hardware UARTs. So I'd assume they have flow control. The fact that you can use any pins is because it's going through the IO mux. So yeah, there's no need to have access to UART 0 to connect anything to anything. Although a lot of drivers might assume it's hardware, it's UART 0, but you can use any UART you want on any pins. Okay, so just need to move these out again. I agree, and finding the pin definitions wasn't entirely obvious, but it works great on the TinyPICO. Yeah, IO2 is a weird one because it's actually a strapping pin, so they shouldn't have used a strapping pin. That's all. That's my only thought on that. Perfectionist. Who's the perfectionist? I mean, that might be all we need, other than fixing the spacing on the wire. How much is the routing grid? I don't use a routing grid. I freeform. Me, a perfectionist. Yeah, I sit there refining. By the way, I meant to just update you all before. For those of you that are left, I've got my NPR 121s on the way, which are the touch ICs I need for my play shield, my new play shield. So I have not assembled one of those yet because I don't have the capacitive touch ICs, but I've got 10 of them coming. So, and I also bought a development, like a breakout board, one of the Adafruit ones with the NPR 121 on it from Core Electronics, which I'll have today as well. So I've got that to test with in case I've got any problems on my board and things aren't working properly. I've got one of their breakout boards. Hey Rob, hello. 154 of us left. Sorry, I didn't look actually. So I apologize for that. The important ones are still here. Okay. Sorry folks. Let's get back to here. So I think they are too close to the header pins for sure. So not a problem for male headers, but for the female headers, I don't think it's going to fit. Azotech touch applications. I don't know what Azotech is. Who put that negative vote? The negative vote? You mean the thumbs down? I always get lots of people with thumbs down. 900 megahertz, 10 kilometer range, full speed SS modem. No? What's FSH? What's FHSS? Full high speed something? Hey, Elio. Just wondering if you could do an Eagle tutorial on how to build the TinyPICO complete from schematic to final PCB. Hi, Ryan. Really? No. How to build TinyPICO complete. Yeah, that'll be a 20-hour video tutorial. Yeah. Frequency hopping spread spectrum. Cool. Okay. There you go. Frequency hopping. Fine high speed steel. Yeah, no. Sorry, Ryan. Yeah, that won't be happening. So these cut-ins are fine. I think that'll be okay for the JST. You might watch it, Allo Mallo, but I wouldn't want to make it. It'd be a nightmare to make. Catch you later, Alan. Yeah, that would be like full on. A video like that. Full on. Okay, the grounds, that's a bit ugly. Have to change that. Bottom. Put that in the center. Okay. So the grounds have to go like that, which is different to this one, but that's annoying. You can always rotate that one, but then the reset. I don't like that. That's really frustrating. So it looks like, Aaron says, looks like a lot of these issues are slowly getting ironed out for you. So as a teaser, what do you think the next new board project will be for 2021? Any teasers? Teasers. I don't know, like I'm not committing to any boards right now. So look, I've got an STM32 variant of a TinyPICO format, TinyPICO footprint type board that I've got on my, very high on my want/to-do list. I've got the Pro S3 coming out early next year or at some time next year. What did you just say? What did I just say? STM32. Yeah. I've got a. Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm honestly, I want to be a little careful also what I say. Yeah. It's becoming a competitive space. And yeah, I don't know. Like my little RGB digit that I'm working on. So the second I showed that on my stream and playing with that, a whole bunch of people have gone out and designed their own, which is fine. And I'm pretty sure someone's going to go to market before I do now, which kind of, takes the whole enthusiasm away from me doing it. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Hard to say. Too early to say, I think. Yeah. Hey, Ian. Impetus. Yeah, I've lost the impetus, motivation. Not sure. Yeah. My chair sounds Trumpy. Oh, can I show you? You want to see something really funny? I'll show you something really funny. So, I work at a particular height on my microscope, right? And I keep having to adjust my chair. So I've worked out, right? If I lean back in my chair, let's see if it works. Watch what happens. Now, it may not happen this time. Depends on my angle. No, it's not going to happen. Depending on the angle of my chair, like if I lean back, it goes, and I end up like sinking, and it's really creaky now, and it makes a lot of noise. So anyway, yeah, I might have to replace my chair. I don't know what's going on with it, but I keep having to adjust it. Come on, go down. It was hilarious. I was recording a video the other day, a Patron video, and it kept going down. I had to re-record it. Yours sinks too? Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's hitting the plunger on top of the mast. It might be. Yeah, I don't know what it is. WD-40. Hey, Milos. Yeah, my chair's definitely loud. Okay, so this, well, I mean, apart from that label, and I've got to fix the spacing on these, and I need to move them over, which means I'm going to have to pull the, yeah, I didn't really want to, but I'm going to have to move this. I have to maybe do this on a grid. Okay. You have to move it forward, just one. So I can move them over to make sure there's space for the headers. Devices 226, 220, maybe. It's hard to know how much space I need, because some of the who's saying bye? Catch you later, Ellie. Thanks for joining. Do I have one lying around? I don't. Do I have any headers lying around? No. Hang on. So what I've discovered is, let me switch to here, is a lot of the headers that I get have got a varying amount of hangover, if that's the right word. So if you look at this one, you see that on the right hand side there's more plastic off the pin than on the left hand side, and it's hit and miss what you get. So connecting this to a TinyPICO, assuming that this was a 10-pin one, right, that way, has the plastic right on the edge. So about the blurry. But if I turn it the other way, there's a bit of PCB sticking out. It's only small, right? But so what I find is there's variations. Over the bridge. There's variations on the plastic, and sometimes it's even more. And so I've got to be really careful. Like one of the things that I worked out that I didn't cater for for my Pro S2. I can find my latest Pro S2 board somewhere. No idea where it is. Oh, here it is. Let me just get some headers. Hang on. I'm just going to take this box away. I am on autofocus, but it's not going to want to... Come on, do it, do it. So this is my final prototype revision of my Pro S2, right? And I've got the, you can see that the passives are the same. They're on the corner here. And when I connect this, if I can get it in, it's just touching a passive. You see that I can't do it flat? It's just caught the edge. Change the brightness. So in the final design that you can see here, which I have not manufactured yet, just to be clear, they are sitting in my shopping cart, or ready to go in my shopping cart. That's not the one. This one, oh God. Okay, try that again so I can see. There we go. Which also has castellated edges. I've had to move the passives over to make sure that I don't clip them. Yeah, well, the thing is, 1 millimeter left means I have to increase my board size another millimeter, right? Aaron asked, there should be a leaderboard for the top voted project where TinyPICO has been used. I'm assuming Unexpected would love to learn about what his boards are. Yeah, I'd love to find out what people are using the TinyPICOs for. I don't even know how we'd do that, how we'd collect the information. I would hazard to say that 90% of the people that are using TinyPICOs out there don't even know who I am, or not a subscriber to my channel, wouldn't even, don't join the streams. I mean, based on the number of TinyPICOs I've sold. So, yeah. So anyway, that was an interesting thing I hadn't thought about, was how close I had them. Like, I thought about it, but what I didn't cater for was the amount of variance in the plastic. So I made it too precise. So I need to make sure that the spacing I've got now is enough, because I wouldn't want to build my first board and then find out that there's not enough space. The 3 looks out of place. Which 3? On the Pro S2. The 3 looks out of place. Which 3? Well, of course it's out of place because there are some passives in the way. So it's got to go somewhere. Pretty sure you can't stick silk over a component. The bird's chirping. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I got to stick it somewhere. I'm okay with that. Andy's going as well. Catch you later, Andy. Take care. Yeah, it's okay. It looks a bit weird until you realize why it's like the way it is. Yeah. Okay, I feel like I need to move these more. But I feel like I keep making the board too big. But it's better safe than sorry. Now the other thing I'm going to do with this board is I'm going to, if I panelize it, as in if I go into production on them, I'm probably not going to no, I shouldn't say that. I will V-score them, but only V-score them on one side. So what I'm probably going to do is put, save that. Let me, just bear with me a second. I want to find a previous design or something. So I don't know where it is. I had a version of my Pro S2 at one point that had mouse bites on the USB. I'm just looking for it now. Right, this is a pretty early. An early version, you guys might remember. So I'm probably going to do something like this. So I need to turn holes on. Let me just flip this around. Preset top, holes. I might do something like this. Let's get rid of these. Wow. Okay. I don't know how many holes I'd need. Okay. Gotta remember how I constructed this. So because there's an overhang for the USB, it's going to be a problem potentially adding the antenna on the other side. But if I did this, something like this, just bear with me. I'd have to NBN is extra crappy today. Could be. So what are they actually launching? I'll catch you later, Dave. Sorry, mate. Take care. What are they launching today? Is it just more tests? Right. Probably have to why is that not moving? So I'm just doing this by eye right now. It's probably a bad idea. but I'm just curious to see. If I could even line this up. And what it would look like. Can you hear the birds? Crazy. Bloody noisy. Noisy suckers. Yeah, really loud. Isn't it the idea the holes are further under the USB-C, not to be seen? Yeah, I haven't moved them yet. The problem is I can't use a depanelizing tool at that point because the USB is already on and overhanging, right? So it would have to be snapped off, and then whatever is there left, which could potentially look really ugly. Wait, so I asked the question, what's Sasasha SNA is going for a 12 flight followed by a belly flop and then relighting engines for the aileron maneuver before landing. Okay, cool. Wow. And they're expecting a fail, are they? Well, I'll have to stop my stream before liftoff so everyone can watch it. So the thought was, if I did this, that might not even come up. No, because it's not connected. But if I did something like this, then what I would do is I'd still V-score it, the board, but this would be pre-routed, and then that gets snapped off, and then I only have to clean the 3 edges, right? Or there's another option. I could panelize it the same way I panelized my my nanos, and I could V-score or mouse bite top and bottom and leave the sides empty. Let me grab a nano. So if I did it like my nano, whether it's mouse bites or whether it was V-score, where there's nothing front and back, it makes for a more of a flimsy board, which is a bit of a worry. This is a 0.8mm board. My TinyPICOs are 1mm thickness. But that could mean that not only I've got less to clean, because I don't have to clean 2 sides of the board, so it's quicker to clean. I'd only have V-scoring on the edges, but it means I don't have to worry about the overhang. And I could even probably get rid of that bit that's sticking out. Right? So I wouldn't even need this bit here, which seems to not be straight. Right? It could just be flat here with the USB overhanging. But I'd have to make my own custom panel. But it's probably worth doing. So I might do that. No, that bit allows me to not have an overhang. I can't have an overhang when I'm panelizing with V-score because the USB would hit the edge of the, when they're butted up next to each other on a panel. I couldn't put the USB down because the antenna's in the way and these components are in the way. So I need that extra space. Instead of the large cutouts, if you left them joint at the mouse bite. If I let them what? Sorry? I don't understand. Those large cutouts, what do you mean? You back here, wait, let me. What are we talking about? You're talking about these cutouts? Hard to explain. You can V-score, but with a bit of extra PCB in between the boards. Right, but then the issue I've got is I can't clean the edge of the USB. So right now, this is a problem for me with all of my boards, and it's quite painful, is that, so even with the TinyPICO, the USB hangs over the edge slightly, which means I cannot clean this edge. Not easily. The same with my feather. Oh, they're all inside the house. Hang on. So the same with the feather, right? The USB, I can't clean this edge. I mean, I try my best. I make sure there's no wispy bits sticking off. But you might be able to see there's white on the edge there. I can't clean it. So either I have it hang out far enough that I can clean it, and then it sticks out further than the USB, which looks ugly. Or, right, because the USB can't hit these components here when they're next to each other, when they're panelized. I mean, look how much tolerance there is. Right? And that's because of that bit sticking out. That's what the bit's for. Yeah, have PCB left in place where the mouse bite is, so cut like it's at the board edge, but not the mouse bite. Are you talking about having the mouse bite bits connected? So these bits are connected for stability, right? Yeah, the problem is by the time that's routed, here and here, because JLC PCB want, that's the size routing they want. Anything less than that, and they won't guarantee the panel will stay together. That's what they've told me. I know people have routed smaller, but they say to me, if you make the routing smaller than this, if there's damage or fail on the PCBs, it's on you. It's a depth-controlled cutter reference to the back of the board. Yeah, the problem with that, Chris, is that increases my time, my cleaning time, dramatically. If I have to hand do each one of those boards like that on a completely different cleaning system. I don't have an issue with this. That's neater than pretty much any other board I've ever seen that's been delivered to me, right? And the rest of the board is perfectly smooth. I can live with this. I don't have a problem with that. But that's what I'm just explaining what that extra bit hanging out was. Yeah, look, I could have joined those together. But by the time I add this type of arc, here and here, there's going to be a millimeter, maybe, if anything, joining these two together. And, yeah. Possibly. I could have spaced them out more. But with 4-layer boards, you pay for the panel size. So the bigger I make it to do that, the more the PCBs cost. Wow, that's a really high bar, isn't it, Mike? My boards are cleaner than anything you've ever bought from Ali. Okay, Starship's going to be launching. I think we should call it here. This is good. I just have to decide what I'm going to do with the bit sticking out the side. I don't need that for a prototype board, so I can just leave it flat for now. I'm going to work out the spacing between all of these to get them all even, and I'll probably get one of these sent off to get made. So yeah, cool. How cool. Okay, it's Starship time. I think everyone's keen to see Starship. So thank you all for joining the stream today, and yeah, I hope you all have a fantastic week. And yeah, don't know what else to say. Good luck, SpaceX. Good luck. Okay, everyone rush, quick. Everyone go watch SpaceX. Catch you later. Take care.